Alright, and thanks for joining us again. We are back with the top 4. Just to let you know, the 4 players who have advanced from the top 8 are Nelson, Max, Kenny, and Daniel as well. So, 4 regular players all advanced past the top 8.
So for the semifinals we'll be showing now will be Max Go against Nelson Lim. Both pretty good players. It's quite interesting team, at least on one side.
Yes, we have seen Nelson on stream previously in Swiss playing against Shang in the last round of Swiss actually, with a very interesting Life Orb Gengar and Focus Sash Terrakion. But Max's team we won't reveal just yet. He's got some very interesting Pokemon choices, and the fact that he's brought this team this far is a testament to how good of a player he is. Really interested to see what kind of play he brings with this team.
I guess we get to see what team he's using soon.
Alright, as we do see on the top screen here, Nelson with the Zapdos, Kangaskhan, Terrakion, Gengar, Heatran, and the Clefable. And on the bottom screen, Max, we have Whimsicott, Swampert, Darmanitan, Scizor, Salamence, and the Regice.
The thing that stands out the most on Max's team is pretty much both Darmanitan and Regice. It's a kind of Pokemon you hardly see at all, but somehow he managed to use them all the way until semifinals. So, what do you think about that?
Regice here, I think, is a pretty good choice in terms of having, being really bulky and having that rare same type attack bonus on its ice type moves. But in this case, you see that Nelson's team doesn't really have anything that can take advantage of that. In fact, Max is going to be taking a lot of damage from super effective close combat and heat waves from Heatran, and possibly a low kick from the Kangaskhan as well. So maybe Regice is not the best move here, as we actually get to see a bit of team preview from Max here,
showing off his stats.
And we are going into game 1 of this exciting semi-final match. Give it up for both of these players, guys. Nelson, no stranger to these top cut games. Max has been here a few times before, and when he does well, when he hits a stride, he really goes all the way in the tournament.
So we see here Max sending out a Salamence and a Swampert, while Nelson sends out a Heatran and a Zapdos. Well, the Swampert does have a good time here. Being immune to Zapdos electric attacks and being able to hit Heatran super effectively. Salamence is quite okay matchup, but it's maybe afraid of HP Ice.
Definitely. Zapdos very commonly carrying that hidden power Ice, and importantly, if Salamence here doesn't carry that Earthquake, that Heatran and Zapdos both wall Salamence quite well in this matchup right now.
Although Salamence does wall them back respectively, except for maybe a Flash Cannon from Heatran.
So, Max here probably is going to think about reshuffling his position a bit, and he might lose a bit of momentum switching around, but it may be good for the long term. I'm not sure whether Nelson is going to be able to capitalize on this passive position that Max has been forced into early in the game though.
Yeah, attacking into the Salamence slot, maybe thinking he might switch up, maybe a good idea, but Salamence could protect, who knows. And Swampert is in quite an open position to maybe Ice Beam the Zapdos or say Skull or use an Earth attack, Earth power against Heatran.
Max is gonna stay in though, and Mega Evolve with that Mega Salamence, gonna get that 20-point speed boost here. As Protect coming out from Nelson's Heatran. No Protect coming out, and the Rock Tomb coming out from Salamence, doing a whole lot of damage to Zapdos here and dropping his speed. And Zapdos does get that hidden power off. Is it gonna be enough to take down the Salamence though? Oh! With 11 HP! And Zapdos taking damage from that Rock Tomb is gonna be slower than Swampert on the field now.
Well, Max is currently full of surprises with Rock Tomb, and then his other Pokemon in this team, which is Regice and his Darmanitan. Who knows what Max is running right now?
Rock Tomb is actually a really interesting tech because the electric flyings like Thundurus and Zapdos are very commonly used to counter Salamence because of their good typing. And in this case, Salamence here is usually walled having a set of Dragon Dance, Return, Protect, and either Earthquake or Roost. But in this case, Max has chosen to run a Rock Tomb, sorry, which is interesting to say the least.
Well, Rock Tomb does deal heavy damage to Pokemon like Zapdos or maybe even say Charizard, and it does serve as a semi-support if it doesn't take it out, reducing that speed. So your Salamence will be maybe faster than extent, and even your partner can capitalize on that situation.
Nelson having protected with that Heatran last turn is actually pushed back into a corner. As you see now, he switches out his Zapdos into his Kangaskhan. Heatran gonna stay in as Rock comes out once again onto the Kangaskhan, gonna drop his attack, his speed even further, does so much damage. As Heat Wave does come out from Heatran here, gonna take out this Salamence, do a good amount of damage to Swampert. Critical hit actually, so Swampert taking that like a champ. Gonna probably fire back in Earth Power, but no, Ice Beam actually predicting the switch on Nelson's side.
Well, maybe Ice Beam was headed off to Zapdos slot. Can't really say who has the lead as Nelson. Oh, Darmanitan comes in. Huh. Well, at least we get to see one of the unique Pokemon in Max's team.
Darmanitan is actually very interesting here because it actually sits at a 95 speed tier, which actually outspeeds Kangaskhan in its non-mega form. So if Kangaskhan doesn't go for a fake out here, Darmanitan is going to get a sheer force boosted superpower off on this oh, Sheer Force doesn't boost superpower, my bad. But it's gonna get off a superpower here off onto the Heatran or even the Kangaskhan and gonna do a lot of damage. However, if Kangaskhan does go for the fake out, it's a free turn for Swampert to go for either an Earth Power or a Scald onto Nelson's Kangaskhan here.
I mean, even after a Mega Evolution, Kangaskhan is still slower thanks to the Rock Tomb, the Salamence move top. So, Omex is quite in an interesting position right now.
As Nelson recognizes that he's not in a very good position at all, pulling out switches every single turn. This time is Heatran out for Zapdos, his Mega does, Kangaskhan does go Mega Baby out of the pouch. Is probably going to go for the fake out. Oh, but no, goes to protect.
Maybe it doesn't carry fake out. Oh. And Earth Power going into the Heatran slot with Zapdos being immune to Earth types, being a flying type itself. So good switch on Nelson's side and the protect on the Mega Kangaskhan.
Yeah, very well played by Nelson there to maneuver out of that tricky situation. But Max also played it a bit straight, so you know, I would be surprised if a player of Nelson's caliber wasn't able to maneuver himself out of a situation like that.
Unfortunately for Nelson, Kangaskhan did suffer a speed drop, so it might be slower than Darmanitan here and might get hit.
Especially now that it's protected the previous turn. Once again, like that's the thing about using protect. You lose quite a bit of momentum sometimes when you protect because it allows your opponent to double target into that slot, and that's exactly what has happened now with Kangaskhan's slot being a huge, a huge range target basically for a match to just hit.
Especially having a slower Pokemon using Protect previous turn, you have to either switch out or to risk getting attacked. And Superpower does come out onto the Mega Kangaskhan. Yep, knocking it out as expected. Oh, with a critical hit.
Probably doesn't matter there. Darmanitan does have an obscene attack stat. I believe it was like 145. So, and Ice Beam does go into Zapdos Protect. Interesting that Nelson is running that Protect on Zapdos.
Well, I mean, right now Nelson's really playing very defensive, protecting and switching out every turn. And protecting on Zapdos, I'm not really too sure whether it's a good idea right now.
In that case, in that sense, in that situation, I think protecting Zapdos probably wasn't the best move. He needs to force some offensive momentum back in his favor, and protecting and switching is just gonna lose you momentum because your opponents just keep gonna get free damage basically.
I mean, earlier in this game, we thought Nelson had the lead there, but the unexpected Rock Tomb and keeping Salamence in instead of protecting, and that protect on Heatran's on Nelson's side pretty much lost him the momentum right at the start of the game. So now, Mix is just having a headache and coming in, attacking whatever Nelson switches in onto or failing to protect.
Max here, his turn to switch now as Terrakion gonna go for a close combat onto Swampert. Not gonna be able to take it out, but will he double target that slot? Hidden Power coming out into the Swampert, is it enough? Yes, it is. So Swampert is gonna fall here, but Scizor gets to come in for free, and Darmanitan will probably come back in here for free. Reset its attack and defense drop from using that superpower.
Well, now Max is left with his two Pokemon, so Nelson does have a way of freedom switching in and out. However, Max did manage to switch in his Darmanitan and Scizor quite for free this turn. And Terrakion is defense lowered by 1, but as we've seen in the Swiss round before, he's carrying a Focus Sash. So who knows?
So double protect, trying to scout out Max's attacks here. Probably gonna see a bullet punch come out onto the Terrakion. Not gonna do enough. Rock Slide coming out from Terrakion from Darmanitan.
Yeah, the wrong side would help bypass through the focus sash and damage the Zapdos heavily.
It would be interesting to see what item this Darmanitan is carrying. If it's carrying that Choice Scarf, it would actually be in a very good position right now. However, if it's carrying something else, then Terrakion is going to be able to fire off a Quick Guard probably to block this superpower, this bullet punch. Although Rock Slide is going to come out. Actually take the Zapdos right out of the game. With the critical hit, I'm not sure whether that mattered, considering how bulky some Zapdos are, but Darmanitan does have a very high attack stat.
So now sends out his last remaining Heatran. So the Heatran, which does threaten the Scizor.
Now that Terrakion has revealed its Quick Guard though, Scizor is actually in a pretty bad position as it can't exactly bullet punch freely into Terrakion anymore. And if he tries to bullet punch again, Heatran is just going to take it out with a Heat Wave. But no bullet punch.
No bullet punch, Quick Guard and...
Oh, but the wrong Pokemon as his Scizor is going to take that and drop all the way down with a 4x super effective Heat Wave. Not even going to be able to get out of an attack there. But good information for Max to know that his Scizor is outsped by Nelson's Heatran.
And now Max only has one Pokemon against Nelson's two Pokemon, Terrakion and Heatran. I don't think Max can come back for this one.
Well, Rock Slide can happen. But Max is just going to forfeit, probably going to trying to conserve some information on his Darmanitan there, whether it's Choice Scarf or whether it's Focus Sash or,
Well, I mean, it was a very good match on Nelson's side, being able double targeting that Swampert early on with a close combat and a hidden power ice. As you can see through Nelson's team, he doesn't really have anything to deal with bulky water types. He has a Heatran, Zapdos, and Terrakion, both. Three of them generally not that great against Swampert, so taking that out quite early was quite a useful thing for Nelson.
Yeah, so recognizing that overextension was necessary in order to clear a vital threat on the field. Good playing by Nelson there, obviously, but Darmanitan causing more than a few problems for Nelson there, so Max is definitely going to try to make more use of that. Maybe Scizor, not the best call.
Yeah, Scizor being blocked by Quick Guard, not being able to damage Heatran thanks to Heatran's Steel and Fire typing. Yeah, may not be a good call calling him in the first place.
But that's the best thing about playing the top cut. You have a second chance to get back at your opponent. Nelson has definitely learned a lot from Max in the first game as well. How he likes to play his team, how he likes to use his Darmanitan. The Rock Tomb on the Salamence is also huge. So I think Game 2 will come down to which of the two players is able to take advantage of the information they've gained from the Game 1.
Well, I don't. We probably will see Max changing his tactics, as you mentioned before. Scizor isn't exactly the greatest, but that begs the question: what will he bring in instead? Both Regice and Whimsicott doesn't really deal too well with Nelson's team. Regice being weak to Heatran and Terrakion, while maybe taking quite a heavy hit from Kangaskhan's fighting attack, maybe low kick, while Whimsicott being a support Pokemon as it is, may be able to help, but I don't really see it doing that much.
Max's team definitely doesn't have a very good matchup here against Nelson's more standard team. Like you mentioned, Regice, Salamence, and Swampert are pretty much shoo-ins, but Salamence, Swampert, and Darmanitan basically shoo-ins, but we see Max is gonna stick with the Scizor.
And Nelson bringing in his Gengar and Terrakion. Well, Terrakion here does have a speed advantage, maybe, if it's not Scarf, so...
And we have seen that Quick Guard, so if I were Max, I would be a bit hesitant to just freely Bullet Punch here, as Bullet Punching into a Quick Guard and taking a Will-O-Wisp to the face from Gengar may just lose him all the offensive momentum from the get-go. The Pokemon on the field right now, though, are generally very powerful in terms of their attack stats. So I wouldn't be surprised to see either player trade KOs this turn, but nope, Nelson actually going to go for the Protect with this Gengar.
I think not going for maybe a Will-O-Wisp. And Super Power does come out onto the Terrakion.
And we see that it is Choice Scarf outspeeding that Terrakion, but Terrakion does have that Focus Sash. Gonna hang on with just 1 HP. Let's see what Terrakion goes for. I would think it's a close combat actually. Onto the Darmanitan, we get the 1-hit KO with the defense drop from the Super
If
Power.
the Scizor hits a Terrakion, we will have a trade KOs here right now. But let's see. Oh!
As Scizor goes for the Tailwind, Max busting out all the tricks here.
Well, I mean, Max is already behind 1 game, so he has to recover here. If he loses this game, he's out for the competition already. However, there is a risk of showing too much of your tricks for the 3rd game, so...
Well, at least, you know, you win the 2nd game and you do have a chance to get for the 3rd game.
Better
as Salamence is going to come in here and drop that
attack,
Intimidate.
Reducing the attack of Terrakion, Gengar not bothering too much about it, but the speed increase thanks to the Tailwind does help a lot for Salamence to attack Gengar and Terrakion, both known to be very fast Pokemon.
It's really interesting to see how Max has reversed the mind games on Nelson now, showing that he's not afraid to, you know, go for the support move, knowing that Nelson does have that quick guard.
Well, Nelson also probably didn't use quick guard thinking that Max will go to attacking move like Bug Bite. However, Max ends up going with a Tailwind anyway, so that wouldn't really matter too much.
And now you see the mind games this turn are real. You know, Terrakion could go for the quick guard, and if it does, then you know Bullet Punch is blocked. But if he goes for the quick guard and Max goes for the double target into Gengar with both the Salamence and the Scizor, that could spell a lot of trouble very quickly for Nelson. So this turn is really pivotal in this game too right now.
Especially with the Tailwind on Max's side, his own Salamence is free to choose whichever target he wants, so it's kind of a good position for Max despite losing 1 Pokemon very early in the game.
And with Gengar protecting the previous turn as well, you know, basically once again a free double target into Gengar slot. And Terrakion having shown that Focus Sash, you know, Gengar, pretty obvious it's not holding a Focus Sash.
So we see the Mega Evolve for Salamence, and let's see.
As Terrakion goes for the Protect here, not wanting to take a potential Bullet Punch. As Double Edge comes out onto the Gengar, is it going to be enough to drop the... It is! Gengar falls without the Focus Sash.
Double Edge of course here being a flying type thanks to Mega Salamence's ability Aerial Aid. So...
And Scizor showing that Bug Bite. One of Scizor's main gripes in VGC 2014 was its lack of Bug Bite and having to resort to weaker bug moves such as U-Turn or an X-Scizor.
Thanks to the move tutors in Auras, Scizor's be able to come back to his former glory of using Bug Bite and taking out away berries thanks to Bug Bite.
And once again, we see that Terrakion, having Burners protect the previous turn, now vulnerable to being targeted down by this Mega Salamence here. With the Tailwind, you have to imagine that Scizor is going to outspeed this Heatran. And I don't know, knowing Max, I wouldn't be surprised to see a knockoff coming out from this Scizor actually.
Yeah, knockoff would be the most effective move against a Heatran right here. I mean, his other attacks wouldn't do much at all, so it will work. So quick guard.
Terrakion is going to go for that quick guard, though not going to want to take that Bullet Punch. As Rock Tomb does come out onto the Heatran, going to drop its speed. And Super Power coming out of all moves. It's Super Power, brings the Heatran down. Gets the KO! What a play!
Wonderful play by Max. I think knowing that the Terrakion will probably be too scared to get hit, so going for the quick guard and ignoring the Terrakion, not going for the Bullet Punch, just goes and KOs Heatran in 1 turn.
Fantastic playing by Max here, and now, you know, with that Tailwind though, that Tailwind on that Scizor changed the dynamics of the match so much. You have to imagine the previous game, Scizor was trying to get off the superpower onto Heatran as well, except it was outsped. So Max makes the adjustment. You know, I'm not just gonna let your Heatran outspeed me 2 games in a row. I'm gonna set up Tailwind.
It's like, because his previous game he set up his Scizor quite late, so he didn't really have the chance to set up his Tailwind. But in this game, it was his lead, and setting up the Tailwind on the first turn pretty much gave him the momentum he needed to sweep through Nelson's Pokemon.
It's not over yet though, as you know, the 2 Pokemon you would really count on to bring a game back in this metagame. Terrakion, Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan, of course, at full HP. And Max having shown double-ish on the Salamence, meaning that every hit it makes right now is going to deal recall damage to itself.
Oh, just misses out on the KO on the Kangaskhan.
Double-ish so powerful, the super power.
Double targets onto the Kangaskhan.
Onto the Kangaskhan, gonna pick up the KO. Really great play by Max there, recognizing that he can actually pick off the Terrakion anytime he wants. It's at 1 HP. Bullet Punch's PP is way more than Quick Guards, as Rock Slide does come out from Terrakion. Gonna do a lot of damage to Scizor actually with the -2 defense. But not enough to pick up the KO on Salamence, and that is pretty much game.
Yeah.
Max bringing it back in game 2.
A very wonderful lead in the second game. And then we see a forfeit.
Nelson is gonna forfeit, and we are brought to a very entertaining game 3 in the semifinals.
It's kind of a weird situation as game 1 was quite a decisive win on Nelson's side, and game 2 is a very decisive win on Max's side. So who knows how game 3 is going to be? Is it going to be a back and forth, or is one side going to get the advantage over the other again?
Definitely now the momentum has to be with Max's side. He's pulled out so many tricks. He's shown superpower. He's shown that tailwind. So you have to think that Nelson is really afraid of that tailwind now and might be inclined to lead with his Heatran in the last game. But that might end up just playing right into Max's hands, as he can just lead maybe the superpower with his Darmanitan, or even his Swampert with the Earth Power.
Yeah, it's really a mind game right now. Does Max want to set up his tailwind at the first turn again? Does Max want to reserve it for later and say conserve his Scizor a bit more? Or does Max even want to bring his Scizor in the first place? While he has served him well in the second game, now Nelson knows what he has to deal with, because Scizor with its tailwind is the main deciding factor for Max wins in the second game.
Okay, and news has just come in that Kenny has reached his 5th finals in Premier Challenges, or 4th finals in a Premier Challenge, taking down Daniel 2-0 in the semifinals. Look forward to casting his match as well in the next game. I think we need to go back to. Zapdos may have that tailwind on Nelson's side, and that may be Nelson's answer to counteracting Max's own tailwind.
The double tipping on their side will pretty much neutralize each other's speed, as both having the same boost, so Nelson could go with that play. Max might expect that, but let's see what he can do against it.
I think this match will all come down to the leads here. We are going to see Scizor Darmanitan again, the double red lead. Is Nelson going to have his Heatran? He does have the Heatran. Heatran Kangaskhan making an arrival.
But with Nelson not wanting Scizor to set up tailwind at all with his Heatran there, threatening it to defeat off with one hit wave. However, if Nelson makes the protect play as he did in the previous game, it might punish him again.
The thing is, with Scizor having revealed his entire moveset in the previous game, Nelson has to know now that Scizor does not have Protect. And so that may be a determining factor in how he decides to play this first turn out.
Nelson, I mean, one reason Nelson might be a bit not inclined to just attack, because it might be in danger from Darmanitan, but Darmanitan will probably take a heavy hit from Mega Kangaskhan, so it could be we could end up with a double KO on Max's side. Oh, but Max switches out his Scizor for
Mega Salamence. You're gonna drop that Intimidate onto Kangaskhan, reduce his attack, possibly letting Darmanitan stick around for another turn. We haven't seen the fake out from Nelson's Kangaskhan yet, but we also haven't seen his entire moveset. We have seen the Protect, but you know, some Kangaskhan's do drop the Sucker Punch or the Power, but the Earthquake coming out from the Darmanitan and the Sugar Berry from the Heatran.
The Sugar Berry greatly helping the Heatran survive that Earthquake. And Power Up Punch does go onto the Darmanitan, increasing Kangaskhan attack so it can deal a heavy damage next turn onwards. So we have Power Up Punch, Protect, was it Double Edge?
Double Edge.
Double Edge, so we have
Return.
Oh, Return.
Yeah.
Return, and we have no idea what the love is.
Yes. So Darmanitan here is probably in the Sucker Punch range from the Kangaskhan. So can't fire off another Earthquake here.
Well, I mean, Salamence is in a relatively stable position. However, getting hit by a return from a type +2 Kangaskhan still also hurts. So, oh, +1, sorry. We have a +1 Kangaskhan would still hurt. Oh yeah, thanks to the Intimidate. So, Max really has a decision. Does he want to risk his own Salamence or does he want to risk his Darmanitan?
I think Max is going to make a call here. Is Nelson going to Sucker Punch his Darmanitan, or is he going to go straight for the return onto Salamence? He needs to call this right. But Sucker Punch does come out onto the Darmanitan. Darmanitan going to drop to this +1 Sucker Punch here. But that means that Salamence does get a free attack. Salamence goes straight for the double edge onto Kangaskhan, going to drop the Mega.
Quite a fair trade there, dropping a bonus Mega for your own Darmanitan.
But Nelson's Heatran has the hidden power. It has to be ice. Is it enough? It is enough. It's a critical hit to drop this Salamence. Nelson showing off his hidden trick in his Heatran here.
Well, now Max is in the tough position, being left with only 2 Pokemon without much freedom of switching in and out, and he has a Scizor against a Heatran, which is not something that Max would want to face at all.
Depends on what Max's last Pokemon is, though. If it is that Swampert, it might be able to. If it is that Swampert, it might be able to take out the Heatran before Scizor.
However, if you see in previous games, Scizor's already in good position against Heatran and Terrakion. If it can't fire out Bullet Punch, not that useful in this situation, and it's slower than Heatran.
Nelson has a pretty safe play here, which is to use Quick Guard, and we do see the Quick. Oh, actually, the Protect coming out, going to protect himself from any Bullet Punch. But Wide Guard, we forgot about that. Wide Guard Swampert going to protect the Scizor here from the Heat Wave. Scizor going to get off a Tailwind! And the Tailwind comes out once again, and suddenly their positions are reversed.
As you see, the game 2, Tailwind pretty much won Max's game. So now with Tailwind up with the game, is it enough for him to come back from his 2-3 loss, from the 3-2 lead that Nelson has?
And with Terrakion having Burns protect the previous turn, you know, a pretty easy double target there, but I'm not sure whether Max is willing to sacrifice his Scizor that early, so yet seeing as Nelson still has another Pokemon in the back.
Yeah, I mean, his Scizor, he still needs both of his Pokemon alive at this point. Low HP, it's fine with low HP, but he still needs them to hit back and not being double targeted in the next turn.
However, if Nelson chooses to protect with his Heatran here, and Max actually goes for the double target onto Terrakion, that could be a huge play that pays off.
Nelson has to protect properly, or Max has to predict which Pokemon he should attack. Though Nelson can attack with both Pokemon instead, so that is a choice for Nelson, as Terrakion is quite safe behind his Focus Sash.
But we do see the Heatran protecting here. Is Max going to call this attack? Bullet comes out onto the Terrakion, drops it to his Focus Sash. What the Swampert target? Everyone's waiting in anticipation. The close combat is going to come off first though, onto the Terrakion, onto the Swampert, dropping it below 50%. Does Swampert go for the Earth Power is the question. Skull into the Protect. But in this case, you know, Max actually has is in a good position to pick up a double KO. Terrakion has to Quick Guard here in order to prevent Bullet Punch from contacting it. Even then, I guess Nelson's play here is to protect with the Terrakion so that he's able to conserve for one more turn.
And it makes it pretty much free to attack Heatran, or at least a Heatran slot, as Heatran already protected the previous turn. So a Bullet Punch onto Terrakion and maybe a Skull onto the Heatran might be the move that Max will want to go for. Especially
as Nelson's last Pokemon which I haven't seen yet is probably the Zapdos. So Earth Power, or even the Gengar. So Earth Powering Heatran slot isn't the right choice at this point. Skull is probably going to pick up a KO anyway.
So let's see whether Nelson does protect for Terrakion, or maybe tries a double protect on his turn.
At this point, I think you have to go for the double protect if you're in Nelson's position. You know, you have to force Max into attacking into protects that he doesn't expect in order to and stall out the Tailwind in order to be able to come back in this game. Once again, we see we saw early game Tailwind in the previous game. We see a late game Tailwind this time as Nelson does switch out his Heatran, and it is the Zapdos as his last Pokemon.
Now let's see whether Terrakion does go for the protect, not wanting to take any Bullet Punch or any hit whatsoever. As Bug Bite goes
into the Terrakion as Skull does come out onto the Zapdos. We're gonna deal some chip damage. Actually, a lot of damage. And yes, burn! That burn is gonna be huge, taking 1/8 of Zapdos HP every single turn. On a bulky Pokemon like Zapdos, that is not what you want to see.
And Zapdos has a chance here to maybe set up his own tailwind if he has any, for Heatran to come back and clean the game for Nelson. However, Zapdos is still in a weak position, Terrakion is in a weak position, but luckily for Nelson, Heatran has an attack which Heat Wave, but the thing is, Max has White Guard. White Guard just kind of not allowing Nelson to pull off any Rock Slides, any Heat Waves, or even a Heat Wave from a potential Heat Wave from Zapdos if he has any.
In this case, Nelson can't even switch out his Terrakion because you have to imagine that Max is going to just Earth Power that slot, and whichever Pokemon's coming in is going to take you a super effective hit from there. So, or Scizor can actually just go for the superpower straight away. I mean, we saw that Swampert did underspeed Terrakion even under Tailwind. So you have to imagine that Scizor is going to go for the attack here. As Zapdos does protect, Nelson try with all his might to stall this Tailwind here. Quick Guard coming out from Terrakion, trying to block the...
Huh?
But the double target into the Zapdos!
And Zapdos hitting his Citrus Berry, not going to get a KO in the next turn.
As Tailwind does peter out, and suddenly things are looking rather tricky for Nelson. I mean for Max here.
That double target into the Zapdos was quite a questionable play, considering that Terrakion protects that. He could have picked up an easy KO on Terrakion. I guess he's just thinking that maybe Terrakion will switch out, but Earth Powering onto or attacking into Terrakion, so at least you get free damage onto Heatran.
In hindsight though, I don't think Max is in a terrible position after making that play, because if he had KO'd Terrakion, then Heatran would have come back in, and then his Scizor would have been threatened after Tailwind. As Zapdos has the Heat Wave. Gonna drop that Scizor, and that is going to be game. Nelson pulling out his last trick in his back pocket there. Ice Beam though gonna take out this Zapdos with burn damage, but between a Terrakion and a Heatran with both outspeed the Swampert, Swampert's gonna have a rough time trying to close this game out by itself.
Even with Swampert being bulky as it is, it can't tank a close combat from Terrakion at this HP range.
Exactly. Nelson showing his final ace in the hole there, conserving the Heat Wave on his Zapdos to the last turn of Game 3. As close combat lands, drops the Swampert. Nelson takes the series 2-1 and advances to the finals.
It's interesting to see earlier on when Zapdos pulls out the surprise Hidden Power Ice to attack the Salamence, and then suddenly pulls out the surprise Heat Wave to take care of the Scizor.
So now we know that Zapdos actually doesn't have Tailwind. It has Heat Wave, he has 3 attacks and Protect with the Citrus Berry, which is a very interesting set, but we saw it pay dividends for Nelson in the end, clutching out the win with that Heat Wave on Scizor.
Well, that explains why, I guess, that does explain why it protected earlier on instead of going for a Tailwind, because it just simply doesn't have Tailwind, so... Who are we going to interview?
Yeah, well, congratulations to Nelson, and we're going to have him on stream again for the second time today. Now an advancing finalist.
Max.
Huh? Alright, I think first we're gonna have... Next one? The one on, okay. Never mind, okay. Alright, it looks like we're just gonna have Nelson on stream here, so... Nelson, interview. Welcome back, Nelson. Now an advancing finalist. No, that was right. What an exciting semi-final match. I'm very sure you were very nervous after that game too.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, like, it's probably your first time ever playing against a Darmanitan?
Yes. It was quite unexpected that Rock Slide could do so much to my Zapdos.
You chose to run a bulky Zapdos that has a Citrus Berry and also 3 attacks instead of, over a supportive move like Tailwind. Is there a particular reason?
I was expecting more Bisharp to be played in this format.
Okay. I noticed that you know, in all 3 games so far, you haven't brought Clefable to any of your games.
Oh, I felt that Clefable was quite useless in all my battles I had so far. And I really had no experience using Clefable, as I had just put it last minute into my team.
Alright, so definitely something you're going to be looking forward to change in future tournaments. But for right now, this is what you have. This is what you're going to go into the finals with against Kenny, your previous finals opponent in the last Premier Challenge. What do you expect going into this game with him?
I think Kenny is really hard for me to beat because he's a really good player, and I don't have that much practice so far. Since the last PC, I haven't played any games at all.
Well, we hope that the finals is definitely is very exciting. Both of you played very well. We've seen both of you on stream actually. So I'm really looking forward to the finals. I hope you have a good time playing in as well, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need a break?
Yes. I just need to go to the toilet actually.